Welcome to the ultimate HTML tutorial. Learning HTML is knowing the foundation of all websites. Without HTML, you cannot build websites from scratch. HTML and CSS are one of the most important programming languages on the client side for the web development. For instance, during home construction, first the foundation is laid, the frame and the roof are built, and the walls, windows, and the doors are added for the lookup stage. Finally, the interior will fit out. It is the same for website. HTML provides the raw tools needed to structure content on a website, while CSS helps to style the content that appears to the user and make it look attractive and user-friendly. HTML is an acronym that stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It is used for creating web pages and describing the structure of web pages. It contains a series of elements. The HTML element is defined by a start tag, some content at the center, and an end tag. Everything from the start tag to the end tag is called an HTML element. These tags used to enclose or wrap different parts of the content to tell the browser how to display the content. The enclosing tags can make a word, hyperlinks, images, can italicize word, can make font bigger or smaller. For example, take the following line of content. If we want to display the content as a paragraph, we should tell to the browser the content is a paragraph by enclosing it in paragraph tags. If the content is heading, we tell the browser by enclosing it in heading tags. Web browsers are used to read HTML documents and display them correctly. A browser does not display the HTML tags but uses them to determine how to display the document. Alright, to get started with HTML, we need at least one browser and one code editor. In our case, we are going to use Chrome browser and a Visual Studio Code editor. To download the Chrome browser, go to google.com/Chrome and download here. To get the Visual Studio Code editor, visit the Visual Studio official website and download for Mac, Windows and Linux for any operating system you want. And download here. Both links are in the description below, you can check it out. Once you download and install the Visual Studio, you get such like a screen in your Visual Studio. Here is the button to import the project folder. Let us create first the project folder. You can create the folder anywhere and give the project name. And you can import project folder through this button by indicating the folder path here, or the short way is just drag and drop the folder. Here is the project folder name, and next to the name there is an icon to create new file. We are going to create index.html file. Always to create the HTML file, use .html file extension. And here open the file over here. Now you can type HTML code. Every HTML code is start by declaring the document type, doc type, and HTML. Next, there is a tag, HTML tag. But instead of creating the HTML document structure from scratch, there is a short way. Just type the exclamation mark, and it gives you a suggestion. This suggestion is coming from event abbreviation. This event abbreviation is an extension that by default installed inside Visual Studio. If you use another code editor, you can download and install this event extension. And choose the first one, and it gives you the entire HTML document structure. And don't worry, I will give you a brief later. And for now, the visible part of the HTML document structure is the body inside the body element. Everything we are going to type inside the body element is going to visible in our browser. My first HTML file, and save the document. To save the document, go to the file and save, choose the save option, or the shortcut is Ctrl S for Windows or Command plus S for Mac, and save it. Now to run the document in our browser, we can open directory from the project folder. We can open the index file, this one, or the short way is go to the extension inside your Visual Studio and search for live server. And here the live server, choose this extension, and I already installed this extension, and install this extension. After you install the extension, it gives you the go live button over here. Just hit the button. Now it opens the browser automatically. It uses the default browser in your computer and opens the HTML document file. I'm going to put the browser side by side with VS Code, and you can hide this side menu by clicking the Explorer icon, and when you click it again, it shows you again. And now this is my first HTML file. Change this content to the second and save the document, and it automatically updates the content inside our browser. So this go live server extension is very important. This is the basic HTML document structure. All HTML document structure must start by document type declaration. This document type declaration appears once at the top of the page before any HTML tags. And the HTML document itself starts by HTML element. This HTML element is the root element in the document. This language attribute indicates that the web page language is English. Both body element and the head elements exist inside the HTML element. This head element is the container of metadata, titles, styles, links, and so many elements. For now, we are going to cover the title element here, and the content inside this title element is always must be text. Change the title to page title and save it. Now this title is shown in our browser's title bar, and this title is very useful for search engine optimization. For example, when we search any website in our browser, the title is shown just like this. It is very useful to rank a website. And the visible part of the HTML document is inside this body element. Everything we are going to type inside the body element is shown in our browser. My second HTML file is the content, and this h1 are the tag. So the browser only display the content inside the tag. The browser uses these tags to read the contents as a heading. We can use a bunch of elements and a nested element inside body element. For now, we are going to cover major elements we will use mostly. The first one is the heading element. This element used to display titles and subtitles. And this heading element is defined by h1. And this h1 indicates that the first heading. And type the content as center, heading 1. Now the first heading is display in our browser. If you notice that only the content is display over here, this H1 tag is helps the browser to read the content as the first heading. There are 6 types of heading elements, starting from H1 up to H6. And save the document. Here each heading contents are displayed. H1 is the most important heading and H6 is the least important heading. The importance of the heading is decreased from H1 to H6. Also the font size is decreased respectively. The browser automatically adds some white spaces before and after the heading contents. And these heading elements are very important for search engine optimization. So don't use heading elements to make the text big or bold. Another the most important HTML element is paragraph element. This paragraph element is defined by P and some content at the center. But we can get sample paragraph text from Element extension and Visual Studio. Just type lorem and there is a suggestion from Element extension and choose this suggestion and it gives us sample paragraph text. We can also specify the number of words we want by giving the number next to the lorem text. If I say lorem 10, it gives me 10 words. If I say lorem 5, it gives me 5 words. For now, I need 25 words and it gives me 25 paragraph words. But if you notice that the paragraph content is exceed the Visual Studio size. So to wrap the word, we're gonna use the shortcut key in our keyboard. Alt Z for Windows, Option plus Z for Mac. And it wrap the word just like this. And save the document. The contents of the paragraph is displayed in our browser. If I copy this paragraph and paste next to this end tag and save the document, the second paragraph won't continue from the first paragraph because always the paragraph element is started in a new line. To separate contents in HTML, we can use the horizontal rule element. This horizontal rule element is defined by HR. And this element is an empty tag. It means it doesn't have the end tag just like paragraph or heading. And save the document. This horizontal element gives us the horizontal rule or the horizontal line in our browser, and that separate the contents in HTML document. And something else you should know over here is if I give some extra spaces in the paragraph content and save the document, there is no extra space display over here because the browser always automatically remove extra spaces from HTML document. If I start this content in the new line and save the document, there is nothing will change because again the browser automatically removes extra spaces and the new lines in HTML document. To break the line without using further paragraph element, we are going to use the break element. This break element is defined by br and saves the document. Now it breaks the content and this content is started in the new line. It is very hard to type poem by using this paragraph element because every poem texts are started in the new line. For example, let's say poem line 1 and the poem writing style is just like this. Always the text inside the poem is displayed vertically. When we save the document, the poem text is displayed horizontally. To solve this issue, we are going to change this paragraph tag to PRE and save it. Now these contents are displayed vertically. It display vertically. This PR element is preserve the new line in extra spaces we gave. The last HTML element we are going to cover is the div element. This div element is defined by div and this div element is used as a container. We can put heading inside this div container. Let's say my heading and also the paragraph and save the document. And let me give some background color for this container style. Don't worry about this style attribute. I will give you some brief later. And the background color red. And save the document. Now we gave the background color for the div container, but it also applies for heading element in the paragraph because this div element is used as a container, because everything we give for this div element will apply for contents inside this container. HTML elements can get additional information from HTML attributes. Attributes always specified in start tag and usually come in name value pairs. For now, we will cover some major HTML attributes, and in the coming videos we will see a lot of attributes. Let us start from style attribute. This style attribute is used to add some styles to an element. Always HTML attributes are specified in start tag. And this style is the attribute name and this one is attribute value. Style attribute is used to change background color, text color, font sizes, and a lot of styles. Let us change the text color for this heading. The style attribute name and the value. To change the text color, we use color and let us say green. And save the document. Now the heading text color is changing to green. So this style attribute gives additional information for this heading element. And we can also use the HTML attribute for hyperlinks. Hyperlink is defined by a. And the link name or the link content, let us say google.com, and this hyperlink is contain the href attribute. This href is hypertext reference. And this href attribute is used to indicate the link destination. And for the google.com, we give www.google.com and save the document. Here is the link. When we click on this hyperlink, the page goes to www.google.com. And we also use the HTML attribute for image element. And don't worry about these hyperlinks. We will see in the coming video briefly. And we will cover this image element in the next videos. And I prepared the image of here inside the project folder. And this image attribute accepts the most important attribute. This attribute called source. This source is used to indicate the image location. And this image location is inside the project folder. So type the name blue room and save the document. Now the image is displayed. Again, this image is too huge. So there is another or further attribute for this image element that is called width attribute. And I give the width value 100 pixel and save the document. Now it resizes the image to 100 pixel width. It can also accept the height attribute. And save. Now it adjusts the image to 200 pixel height. And there is also very important HTML attribute for this image element. And this element is called alt. This alt indicates alternative. If this image is not displayed correctly in our browser for some reason, this alternative text will display instead of the image. Let's say this image name blue room and save the document. This text will not display over here. But if I make some mistake here, just delete some O and save the document. This image name is incorrect and save the document. Now it displays the alternative text in alt attribute, and that is very useful if our image is not displayed correctly for some reason. These attributes are enough to get started with HTML. HTML commands are not displayed in the browser, but they can help document your HTML source code. And the syntax for HTML command is start by less than sign and exclamation mark to a hyphen and closed by to a hyphen in a row and a greater than sign. Everything we type inside this is not displayed in our browser. For example, this is a comment. And I save the document now, and there is nothing will display here. So we use the HTML command for notification. Let me show you. And this is a container for H1 and a P. This comment is the notification for this container, and this container is the container for h1 and the paragraph. And we can use the HTML comment for remainder. If I wanted to add some further contents over here later, I specify and some content here. When I see this HTML comment later, I notice that and I will add some content over here. And as a shortcut key for this HTML comment is Ctrl plus forward slash, or for Mac Command plus forward slash.